Okay. Hello, hello, hello. We're going to start with the great Bonnie. Bonnie, I need you to get through 124 questions in 60 seconds. Go.
Got it.
That won't be hard, will it?
No.
Okay.
I like a good challenge.
Okay.
All right. So first one I see says, can we talk more about a nurse's role in an IEP and how to properly document the minutes?
A nurse's role in an IEP would be if a student has an IHP, individualized healthcare plan. That means that there are doctor's orders at the campus, and possibly the student is also daily dispensed medicine. That IHP needs to be gone over with the parents and agreed upon at the IEP meeting and signed. And then additionally, make sure that you attach the IHP to the IEP document. Otherwise, no teachers ever going to see that. What is this? I don't even know if we can go on like, what is... Okay, there, I felt better.
Okay, and does the student's IEP accommodations follow them after high school? For example, say the student goes to a training school.
Nothing follows you after high school unless you married your sweetheart or your math teacher. So, no, nothing follows you after high school, including those imaginary, you don't want that on your record, do you? Oh my gosh, it's going to be on your record. There's no record. You went to high school and you finished. When you go to college, you can always go to the disability office and ask for accommodations, whether you had them before or not. It's my experience that colleges are fantastically accommodating to make sure that their students are successful at their campuses.
Okay, is poor attendance a reason to refuse testing for learning disabilities?
No, it's not a reason to refuse it, but it certainly is going to set back the finalized timeline if the parent doesn't make the student available to the multidisciplinary team members for assessment.
Okay, and then how can I, as a medical provider, help my patients get better accommodations?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a medical provider, but I have dispensed Band-Aids to people. I wouldn't know that. You would have to ask your employer that.
Okay, and then any recommendations, I guess, for websites to help parents with accommodations for 504s or IEP meetings?
Well, that's interesting because we're writing a series right now, IEP and special education resources, and we're going over some great websites, some great journals and booklets that you can use to help navigate and negotiate the IEP process. So certainly join us there. Alicia, is there like a secret code that they could just join the Academy tonight for free? What's that?
There absolutely is a secret code. Are you ready for it?
Okay, but y'all can't tell anybody, okay? Go ahead,
Okay,
Alicia.
it's a secret.
Say it really low.
All caps, TikTok Live.
All caps, TikTok Live. Say it with me. TikTok Live and all caps. Okay, I'm sure somebody put that in there. And then we'll see y'all at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time tonight in the Academy.
Perfect. So 9-year-old in Pennsylvania has an IEP with a speech goal, but the parent was never informed that services were going to be done via Zoom. Is that okay?
So the parent would have had to agreed upon teleservices. So I would go back and ask for the documentation that supports that agreement. If the documentation doesn't support that agreement, then you are due all of those past services.
Okay. And how do you get a district to make up services if there is no law? They count every holiday or weather day. I think her comment got cut off, so we'll come back to that one. Can I keep my child out of school until we have her proper placement?
I wouldn't recommend that. That could come back to bite you. I'm not a fan of biting because it leaves a mark. So certainly capture your position. If you believe your child's being harmed, then keep them out of school. But that could come into a very long standoff.
Okay, and then the 60-day timeline started a week before winter break, 13 days. Does winter break count towards the 60 days?
No. When the school's not open, the days don't count. So, Alicia, can you just put in there where they put in TikTok Live in all caps? Or can you tell them out loud? Can you tell them out loud when you're not muted? It's easier for them to hear that.
Sorry.
It's a special that we have here, and she's from Louisiana, so they don't have electricity, so bear with her.
Yes, bear with me. So you're going to go to www.specialeducationacademy.com. You're going to click the training tab. You're going to click on the academy. You're going to fill out your information, and at the bottom it says, have a coupon, ? That's where you're going to put that coupon code. TikTok Live, you get 15 days free.
15 days for free. So when you say free, there's like no charge?
No charge at all.
Does that mean they could, in those 15 days, watch the hundreds of hours of training and the workbooks?
Absolutely.
And is that because we want everybody that sits at the IEP table to be able to negotiate, navigate successful student outcomes?
Yes, all
and
those things.
And is that also because we want them to see all of my past blazers?
Yes. It's really all about the blazers.
It's really about the blazers. Yeah. Okay.
So they can join, and then they also get access to you for 2 hours.
To me. It's fantastic. Ask any of my husbands. It's great having access to me. It is. And all the blazers. Yes, they want you to repeat that, Alicia, in English.
Yeah, so you're going to go to the website, specialeducationacademy.com. At the top, there's a training tab. Click the training tab. You're going to scroll down until you see the academy. Click on the academy. They'll have some information you have to fill out about yourself. And at the bottom, it'll say, have a coupon. And then you'll just put the code in there. There's also a link to the academy in Karen's link tree in her bio above her hairdo.
It's above my hairdo. Yes. And so if at the end of 15 days you don't want to stay a member of the academy, we're good. We love you. Peace out. Comb fry. We'll see you at the next Zoom, Google Meet, interweb, frequency, deal. Okay, the great Bonnie.
So this is a good question. Can a school district prohibit an advocate from speaking to the IEP team during the meeting?
No. Any more than the parent could prohibit somebody else from speaking. So, now, there are advocates that need to be muted. It's unfortunate that a lot of advocates are just asterisks at meetings. They're just rude. Rude is not necessary. An IEP meeting is a business meeting. You can conduct yourself as business members the way you would conduct yourself in court, the way you would conduct yourself with your broker, the way you would conduct yourself, with your priest. And maybe you should, work somewhere in the back storage unit stocking stuff. I'm just saying. Thank you for all the roses.
Wow.
Lots of roses. I love it. I'm here for it.
Okay, and why are some deaf students struggling so much in public schools?
So over 2/3 of the adults who are deaf and hard of hearing, who are vision impaired, or who are deafblind are unemployed. And that is because we stuck almost all of those kids straight into life skills when they were 5 years old. And it's egregious. It's horrific. And I will do everything that I can while I'm on the planet for 120 years with my one shiny tooth to turn that around.
Okay, and what if a child is not making progress or meeting IEP goals and has repeated the same grade 3 times?
So when there is no progress, as outlined in Andrew F., March 22nd, 2018, the law of the land, it is the onus, the responsibility, the duty of the school-based members of the IEP team to call a meeting and look at ways at adjusting instruction. So that is supposed to be done by the IEP team.
Okay, do you have options if your child is being pulled from a core class for their intervention?
You always have options. So we want to maximize a student's special education program. We're always looking at two things in special education, right? Meaningful benefit and harmful effect. And it's hard to negotiate those pieces, but we do our very best to do that because we want whatever intervention we're providing him to stick, right? We're wanting to have some generalization, maintenance, and fluency. And so pulling him out of core instruction means that he misses being exposed to those state level standards.
Okay, and why do districts insist on months of paperwork to consider staffing a student? So I'm assuming that means like a para.
I don't know. I don't know what the school districts are thinking. I think different than they think.
Can a virtual school make their own rules about the IEP process?
So I don't know what a virtual school is. I know that public schools are public schools, and I know that charter schools are public schools, and they have to abide by the parameters of their state education board. So I'm not really sure what a virtual school is.
Okay, then Kiki, the teacher, says she's here for all the blazers.
Thank you. You can never have it. You can never. And if anybody ever says you have enough blazers, get rid of them, delete them, block them immediately. Immediately, yes.
Can I request less homework as an accommodation? It takes my child over 4 hours to do homework every night.
For sure, absolutely. That's a great question, Bonnie. So here's the thing. There's no data that supports anybody doing anything after school that's a child has any benefit. Unless you want your child to be an amazing football player or to build robotics or to do something super and their, extracurricular things. We understand that. But really, doing stuff after school is like watering concrete. You can do it, but there's not a lot of Velcro, right? So whether it's in a 504 or an IEP, I can put a reduction of homework up to 50%. Also, if your kid's not doing it, then you know what? They get home. This is called a Post-it note. You put it on the paper and say, Billy's tanked at 4:05. Thank you. He didn't do it. So I'm going to let the great Christina ask a question because she is burning with questions, just thousands of billions of them.
Yes, always. So the first one is, do you do speaking events?
I do speaking events all the time. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And how do they reach out to you to talk about having you speak at their school or event?
Sure. So admin at specialeducationacademy.com. We do professional development. We're going to do a state one in April. We're very excited about that. And we're excited. We love training anybody. I love school districts. I love teachers. I love admin. I love evaluators. They changed my son's life. And they've changed hundreds of children's lives that I've served.
All right, this is a good question. We have a para asking. She says, I'm a para. What do we do with the para shortage? I'm having trouble providing all the services and we're out of compliance.
Right. And really, the para shortage is nothing new. The special ed shortage is nothing new, my love. Thank you so much for loving kids and serving kiddos. The deficit in special ed has always been there. Certainly, I would do everything that I can to make your workload equitable between your team members. You might want to ask your superintendent if in between playing golf, would they like to come down and help teach children? I mean, I don't know. That's always an option.
What about education for deaf and hard of hearing students?
So students who are deaf and hard of hearing, they've been identified with deaf and hard of hearing, or they're deaf blind, are due services. So if you are deaf and hard of hearing, you're due an evaluation to see if you have a need for deaf and hard of hearing itinerant services. You might be in need of an interpreter. If you are deaf blind, you might be in need of an interpreter and, of course, an intervener. An intervener is a related service provider that the school district trains so that they can serve the student who has a very rare comorbidity of deafness, deaf and hard of hearing, and a vision impairment.
Can you do a reevaluation and a summary of performance in February?
So a summary performance is when you're about to be dismissed. But yeah, I just had one in January because she's about to graduate, for sure. If it's their last ARD, it's their last IEP meeting, for sure.
Excellent. What are my rights as a parent if my child is in an inclusion class, ECSE, but has not had a SPED teacher?
So ECSC is not an inclusion class. ECSC is early childhood special education. So the teacher that is in there, even if they're a general ed teacher, is considered by the state dual certified. So I'd look into that a little bit more, although we've had teachers that were in the classroom and they weren't even teachers. So
So somebody asked about feeding therapy in school. Feeding therapy was denied due to it being a medical.
Well, that's so silly. That's, you know what? These silly school-based members, tricks are for kids. So if you need feeding therapy, I would first ask for a dysphagia evaluation to see what components of feeding are a hindrance, right? It could be the mechanics of the shape of your mouth. It could be how you swallow food. I have kiddos that pocket food, like they'll just hold food, or they just wolf down food and they cause themselves to choke or gag. And so you'll ask for a dysphagia evaluation. Everybody has one. If a child needs to be fed at school, we fed them. Because every other child gets to eat. So if they need assistance eating, we provide it. If you have an educational need, it could be medical, academic, behavioral, functional, social, emotional, or communicative, or another array of things. So if they told you something goofy, just go, silly. That's not true. You and I both know that's not true.
Can a school district prohibit an advocate from speaking to the IEP team during a meeting?
Not an amazing advocate. You wouldn't prevent me from speaking. But there are some people who shouldn't speak at a meeting, period. Sometimes they're school-based members, sometimes they're parents, and sometimes they're attorneys, and sometimes they're advocates.
Exactly. So someone said, hello, I love you.
Love y'all.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in while Christina finds that question.
I'm just trying to decipher this one, so go ahead and jump in.
Okay, so people are asking about the coupon code. Make sure you're putting it in all caps. TikTok Live, all caps, or it's not going to work.
So are you saying to put it in all caps?
All caps, please.
Please.
For señoritas and señores.
Por favor, usted, conmigo, el treno, tonight.
Yes.
That's not Spanish.
All right. But Nellie said she got in. We're ready to see you, Nellie.
Come on in, 8 p.m. All right, so Chimps 311, let me know if I'm wrong. I'm guessing, does D setting, so I'm guessing maybe detention setting rep, do they need to be at the table if the team agrees that D, hopefully detention, is the best placement?
So detention's not a placement. Detention is a response to a behavioral incident. A placement is where the team decides where to implement an IEP.
All right, and then one more, and then I'm going to hand it over to Bonnie. We had a kid today that was given detention for using a coping skill that's identified as an IEP goal. What do we do?
Bonk somebody on the head with a pool noodle. I think that you guys should just go buy a bunch of pool noodles so you have them. You could just pull them out of your bag or your briefcase. I would say I'm very concerned that you've violated his civil rights and that you felt so comfortable doing that. And clearly you know nothing about the student because you didn't know anything about his paperwork that you receive state and federal funds for. And then I would add on to the end, muffin. That's always a really good ending. The muffin part.
All right. Is ISS legal with no teacher present?
No. It's also not legal to have ISS without their IEP being implemented. Ta-da! I had a little girl who had charge syndrome, so she was deaf-blind. It's a very weighty comorbidity to have, and it comes with a lot of emotionality. And she was in ISS for days with no interpreter. How do you think I responded to that? I responded in all caps. I did. And the principal said, well, she needs to learn her lesson. Oh, all of you college graduates make me nervous. Did they teach, because I didn't finish college, did they teach common sense in college, or is that like an elective? Is that an elective class, or it's not a requirement? Okay.
Nope, not required. Can they take out and reword certain things in my parent concern letter?
No. Not unless they're you. I know you're making up these questions, Bonnie.
No, these are real questions submitted by the public.
You're not even good enough to have your own parent concerns. We're going to make adjustments for you. We don't believe your parent concerns. We want you to have our parent concerns as your parent concerns.
Do students have any bathroom rights?
All students have rights. All humans have rights. All humans have dignity rights. So, yes and yes.
Okay, and where can parents attain an advocate?
So I would do 3 places. I would go to your state and ask them, state education agency, and say, hey, do you have a list of attorneys and or advocates? Access that. I would go to COPA, Coalition of Parent Advocates and Attorneys.org, COPAA.org. Or the best place is just come to us, Admin at Special Education Academy, and we have a team of amazing, pristinely trained advocates who have been personally trained by myself, each of them, who will serve your kiddo from the Kodiak Islands of Alaska to Miami to Massachusetts to San Diego. If there's any place in between, we'll take care of that.
Bonnie, I muted you because I'm jumping in. Sorry. Okay, so I had somebody ask, what was the feeding therapy evaluation they need to ask for their child again?
It's called dysphagia. DYSPHI. Somebody typed it in there. I think KKKKK typed it in. Dysphagia. It's a feeding evaluation. Every school district has it. Even in New Hampshire, you can ask them.
Okay, and then someone also asked if you are anti-teachers.
Oh my gosh. Is the secret out now?
Oh,
I thought I was hiding it. That's really weird if I am anti-teacher because I've never made a single anti-teacher video. And schools hire me to teach their teachers, and 20% of my clients are teachers. So I'm going to let your question be your answer.
Perfect. And then we have one mama on here who is very worried, and she's asked a few times, so I'm going to ask, and then Bonnie and them can jump back in. But her child has absent seizures. Sound like a kid, you know?
Yeah.
And her team is trying to get her child to track her own seizure symptoms. So they're really not understanding the disorder. So she needs help on how to get them to understand.
I'm sorry,
She's already gave them a pamphlet. That didn't work.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. I know. My heart breaks for
Okay.
Imagine Jude trying to track his own seizure symptoms.
I have words, they're not very nice words, and my pastor wouldn't like them, so I'm not going to say them. I would immediately call a meeting and have the nurse there and the head nurse from the district and say, I know that you're joking when you're trying to violate my child's rights. Immediately.
Yes. I know. All right. Bonnie or Christina can jump in now.
Okay, I'm going to jump in because some lovely people are saying dysphagia is not an evaluation in the schools. What has been for me for 27 years. I ask for them all the time. So there's no prerequisite for it. There's no requirement from a doctor. They certainly want doctor support if you have that. But there's no background requirement. So absolutely, my love, dysphagia are evaluations in school districts. Okay, Shannon, you're on deck. Shannon is not on deck because she's been screaming at people.
It's Bonnie.
She was screaming at people today, and she said this: "Help me, help you, help me, help you, help the kid, help me, help you, help me, help you." And then she said, "I'm not kidding." We have a really great advocate on our team, and she's very quiet, and she just sits there, and all of a sudden she goes like, she keeps a pen in her hand. She's like Bob Dole. She goes, "Now listen." She's the pen pointer, and she listens and listens and listens. She's a retired teacher. She's one of our best advocates. She listens and she goes, "Okay, now about that." It's so good. We love Cindy.
So along the lines of the dysphagia, again, what happens if they tell you have to see a doctor for it?
Okay, so there's no requirement for schools to make you go see doctors. In fact, it is in the code that if a parent couldn't afford a doctor, if a parent doesn't have health insurance, that they have to provide that doctor visit. So when I hear goofiness, I immediately email the compliance director for that state. Like today I heard some goofiness, and I won't tell you where. Iowa. They said they didn't have eligibilities in Iowa. I'm sorry, what? You have like an eligibility fence that we just built up there. We didn't build the border, but we built the eligibility fence. Ma'am, it sounds like a lie to me. So if it sounds goofy, just go straight to the top. Go to the director of the special education department for this state. Because 99% of the goofiness you heard is because schools are rogue, right? And schools are like franchises. If you're a bad franchise, you don't call Chick-fil-A and go, we're doing terrible, right? And corporate doesn't know if you're a bad franchise unless somebody says something. So if you're a good franchise, great. But unless adults, parents, and guardians and grandparents start to share their concerns at the state level, nothing is ever going to change. Nothing.
Bonnie, are you ready?
Yeah, just one. Angel says that she's a special education teacher and are retiring in a few years. She would love to become an advocate. How can she do that?
Yes, because that's what they call me when I come to meetings. An angel.
Okay,
Bonnie, this is serious. It could happen.
Yeah, no laughing.
Yeah.
No laughing.
No laughing.
All right. We had a couple of questions about virtual training. So can we talk about the academy and about virtual 2-day coming up?
Yeah, so the next virtual 2-day coming up is going to be April 15th and 16th. And the next in-person is the 18th and 19th of February. And then the 17th and 18th, I believe, of March, a Friday, Saturday on spring break. And so the April virtual will be the last virtual for this semester because I think y'all all know people done lose their minds in April and May, especially we call May mayhem. So if you're wanting to attend the virtual, you should have your tax return by then. Come join us the 15th and 16th of April. Of course, we always have, you can take the class on demand digitally at any time. The 2-day is available on the website.
And is the 2-day the best way for them to get the training that they would need if they wanted to become an advocate or advocate more for their child? Absolutely.
You're only going to get extra bonuses from the academy, but the 2-day intensive is exactly that. So there's 5 people behind me. So ladies, was the 2-day intensive?
Yes.
Yes.
Was it intensive all 17 times you went?
Yeah.
Yes.
At one point, did somebody slam their laptop? It wasn't me.
Yes.
Yes.
I was not. Somebody flew over the nest and then left. So
Nothing.
It wasn't me. It was somebody else that made them fly over.
The nest.
Yeah.
They left
And
the nest.
someone just asked, they're new here. Can you explain what the 2-day covers?
Sure. So day 1 is teaching you how to advocate for anyone, however you sit at the table, right? Because we love school districts, but nobody trained you. And when you sit there and tell me that you went to a class in college, I'm not amused. I'm greatly concerned. There's 40 pages of new statutes that come out every year for every state. So when I hear somebody took some class in college, that's great. IDEA is 115 pages long. You need nonstop training. So the 2-day training is for anybody that serves somebody. So how to serve somebody and be an advocate, however you sit at the table. And then day 2 is how to be a paid advocate.
Melissa, I see your comment. I'm going to put my email. Just email me, girl. We're going to work on that.
Is your email sizzle? Is that for the gas? Or is that for the gas prices?
That's for something else.
I'm sorry.
That's her other email.
My other email.
That's her other email. Okay.
The other one.
Other email.
Personal email. Right. That one. All right. We've got hundreds of questions. Do I need to get you back on task?
Get back on task.
Shiny penny.
Yes.
All right. Had my son's re-eval for a 504. After I raised concerns and asked for more accommodations, he's now always in trouble.
That's unfortunate. So, you have to be very careful when the school is only tracking one type of specificity for your child. So we were doing a training the other day in the Mastermind. We were doing prep the folder, and we opened the folder, and there's this little boy that's in a self-contained class, but he has communication goals, he has sensory goals, he has academic goals, and he has behavior goals. And guess what they were tracking only? Say it with me. Behavior goals. You know what we call that? Predetermination. You're tracking to support your position that you're trying to shove down the parent's throat. But when I show up next week, we will dislodge that bad data.
Yes. So I'm trying to find the exact wording again, but somebody asked, so they were told that their school doesn't do evaluations for students that they consider, quote, flatliners.
If your student's breathing and they're enrolled in the school, they can have an evaluation. I would ask for...
Can you explain students not qualifying because they're flatliners?
Thank you, Alicia.
I've actually never heard anybody say something so asinine, because that's what that is. If I have children that sleep for the bulk of the day, I have children that are terminal, I have children who are actually non-responsive, and they have an IEP. So that is offensive to me.
Very.
And then I have one that's like a Rowley question.
Oh, I love a Rowley question. Yes, I'm so excited.
It says, can you please address XO, I don't know, 04, on if a deaf child is being denied because the child is smart?
So Amy Rowley was a Supreme Court case that went before the Supreme Court in 1982. Very unique situation. She was a student. She was actually the smartest child in her class. It started in kindergarten. Fast forward to Amy Rowley now as an adult. She's a physician. So she really is smart. She was a very unique kiddo with a disability. She just had one disability. She was deaf. Both of her parents were deaf. And the parents wanted to maximize the benefit of her IEP and requested an interpreter. They brought in an interpreter as a trial, and Amy hated it. The other little 5-year-olds thought it was amazing. So there's no charge from the federal government that we maximize your educational benefit. But if one of your eligibilities or your eligibility is deaf and hard of hearing, then you certainly have related services around there to help mitigate the impact of your disability and enable the student to make progress in light of their unique circumstances.
All right. And then somebody was told by their IEP team that the school does not have a SPED program for kindergarten.
Not a thing. So, oh, Lord, help me not say something ugly. So, under the 8 pillars of IDEA, we're required to provide infant to 22-year-old services for individuals identified with disabilities. I feel like kindergarten's in there. It's probably just a feeling, though. Is this in Iowa?
No, it might be.
It might be.
All right. Okay, AAC question. You know I love these.
AAC, is that for air conditioning?
It is.
Okay.
It is the extra A in the AAC. All right. Student has an AAC device, but we don't think it's being used. Para mentioned something about it gets put away.
Oh,
with the book bag.
So we don't put our hands over other children's mouths during the school day. So we don't put away somebody's voice. So it's very easy for you to pull the minutes on a VOCD or an AAC, a voice output communication device, or an augmentative alternative communication device. Here's what you need to simply say at the meeting, love. I am greatly concerned how very rarely the student's AAC is ever even used, much less turned on. Going forward, when can we expect the school to have robust training so that they understand her language modality and she has equal access? And then you go like this. If you're from the South. Yeah.
I did that the other day in a meeting.
You did?
It went over well.
Yeah, then they know, oh, she's not playing.
Is it legal for a student to be taught by an aide when the teacher's in a different room?
So it is legal for a paraprofessional to supplement and support the general ed teacher or the special education teacher after they have been supervised for them and knows exactly how to implement the strategies and support to supplementary aids and services that the student with a disability needs to benefit from their IEP.
All right. And then what are the other options or alternatives are there in terms of services for a child that qualifies for deafblind?
So, I mean, I have children that are deafblind that I serve, and they have services from physical therapy to AAC to a VOCD to music therapy to assistive technology, of course, to occupational therapy, parent training, in-home training, whatever they need that they met eligibility for on their related services to benefit from the IEP. I think Alicia wanted to yell out. Alicia wanted.
I sensed there was a yell out from you.
There's a yell out from Louisiana.
It was a landline raised one. She said something like, "What's going on with your AAC, bro?"
I know, bro.
Right.
Nothing. We don't overuse it. We have it stored in the pack. I had a teacher say it really gets in the way. Now that teacher was the occupational therapist, and this little boy had no use of his hands and has never sat up, but he used a AAC, a voice output communication device. It was mounted on his chair, and she said it solely gets in the way. So when I go work with him, I move it down to the bottom, but she doesn't move it back up.
Okay, so real quick, because everybody's asking about the Academy again.
Okay, say it again.
So tonight, you can join the Academy with the promo code in all what, ladies?
Caps.
TikTok Live, all one word. You're going to go to www.specialeducationacademy.com. You're going to click the training tab. You're going to go to the Academy. You're going to fill out all that information, and at the bottom it says coupon ? And that's where you're going to put that coupon. And then you're all going to see Karen until 10 o'clock tonight instead of just till 8.
So exciting.
All right, Miss Bonnie, one more, and then you're on deck, lady. Okay, mom of a sped child and a teacher. I was called into a meeting with 5 or 6 people and was told we needed meds.
Is that for the staff or for the parent? Like, are they like having a sample? Is it like a charcuterie board? Like there's queso, chips, and sedatives? Because can I get the address? You girls want to go? Yeah, we're on our way. Meds. This is why people end up on that show snapped.
IEP edition.
IEP edition. That's so good, Bonnie.
Can you expand on least restrictive environment?
Sure. So least restrictive environment is not a location. Least restrictive environment is a consideration. We are to consider the best place to maximize their individualized education program. And we do that with supplementary aids and services and support. And we do it via a continuum of services. So in general ed, there's general ed with accommodations, general ed with in-class support, general ed with in-class support with modified, general ed with co-teach. That's all a continuum inside of general ed. Then we have resource classes, which will never go away. They're in the IDEA. Those are separate classes that are all special ed students that usually are about 2 years behind academically. And then there are self-contained settings, everything from alternative settings to behavioral units, to deaf co-ops, to autism units, out-of-district placement, psychiatric units, out-of-district day schools. So we're looking for the best place to maximize the student's IEP.
Okay, and what?
I'm going to jump in, Bonnie.
Oh, go ahead.
Because you were just talking about all those different placements. This mom's been asking for a while now. Her child is 10, and the school is saying that he must attend a residential placement before they will allow him to go to school. What can the mom do?
So obviously something led up to that. I would need a little more background of how that came to be. Because I have kids that are at residential, and it's a very hard ask and a very hard database to get because it's very expensive. So I would need a little bit more information about that.
Okay, and what can I do if I'm not being sent the quarterly progress reports from my student?
So hi, I'm going to come up to the school tomorrow and pick up my quarterly progress reports. Please have them photocopied for me in color. Thanks. Have a great day. And maybe like a half a tuna sandwich too when I get there. Something like that. With some chips. Definitely need chips.
If you don't agree with an assessment and ask for an IEE, does it have to be from a school provided, I guess, on the list that they give you?
No, but you certainly want to, something we really train on. So an IEE you're going to have to wait for. You're just going to have to get in line, and good IE providers are worth the wait. So they're going to provide you a list of people, and that means that those are people they've contracted with, right? So you have to meet certain criteria. I have clients that are physicians, but they don't meet the criteria to be an LSSP, a licensed specialist in school psychology in Texas, right? So each state has requirements for their multidisciplinary team members that provide assessments. So you would need to find somebody private that also meets the contractual obligations and agreements with the school districts. I have people that do IEs, but their rate is way above the school district's level. And so you definitely want to find somebody that works with the school that does IEs for a living, just like you want to find an advocate that does that for a living, not just when they get irritated on Thursdays. So that when the IEE is received from the private provider, that the school district is amenable and open to listen to some of its considerations, because you can get an IEE, but if that person doesn't know how to communicate with the school and is aggressive with the school doesn't have to accept any of it. They have to put it in your child's audit folder, but they don't have to accept any of the recommendations from it. So certainly want to make sure that you don't go to my Uncle Bob. He did an IQ test one time. Let's not do that. Unless Uncle Bob is a diagnostician. Does anybody have an Uncle Bob who's a diagnostician? I would love to meet them.
Perfect. And let's see, how do you make sure that the IEP goals are being implemented?
Because I track the progress. So I set up for my parents that have concerns, I set them up a monthly parent-teacher conference, because I don't want to wait 9 weeks. I don't want to wait 6 weeks. I want to do 20 school days to say, hey, are we rocking it out? If not, let's make some adjustments for Berkeley. When I get the IEP progress reports, I take them out and I match them to the agreed upon, to the codified IEP that we agreed upon. And so let's say that it's going to be at 70% within 36 instructional weeks, and we're at the end of the first grading period, 25% of the year, and we're at 10%. Guess what, love? We're not going to make it. So I would love to tell you that schools are going to call a meeting. Schools are crazy busy, overworked, and underpaid, and they have to pay to wear jeans. So it's your job as a parent to partner with the school to make sure that they're making progress as well.
And along those lines, another question asked, do the general ed teachers have to track accommodations daily?
Just if they don't want to be in violation of U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights if I file a complaint.
Perfect. And lots of questions about the difference between a 504 and an IEP.
A 504 is a waste of paper. A 504 is a civil rights law. It simply means you cannot be discriminated against about having accommodations. I sat in a meeting today in Florida. I was in Florida, and then I was in the Kodiak Islands in the Alaska, very far apart. They had 11 accommodations in this 504 that every lovely teacher in America would do. Why? But you can take the 504, and if you fold it in 4 pieces and you have a Coke can, you can put it on there and it will absorb the moisture. Nothing is happening in a 504. Nothing is being targeted. Nothing is being mitigated. There is no specially designed instruction. Both of them say you have a disability. So here's what you should do. Everybody listen. Are you listening? Everybody listen. If you have a 504, I want you to call your 504 director tomorrow and say, because I have an identified disability, I've already triggered child find, and I would like to have a full evaluation. All of you, let's just call right now. In fact, let's email 504 and make it up as we go independent school district. Hi, it's Tabitha. I just watched this lady with natural blonde hair. She said because I have an identified disability, it triggered child find. When may I come in and sign notice and consent? An IEP is an individualized education plan that can change a child's entire destiny because we're teaching them strategies, skills, and supports to mitigate the impact of their disability. So who should have an IEP? Everyone. Who should have a 504? My ex-husband. No one.
Okay, 12 minutes. The heat is on.
Take it away, Christina.
My son is failing, has ADHD, dyslexia, depression, anxiety. He has a 504. I want an IEP, but the school says no.
If you have a 504, you've already triggered child find. They're already in violation of child find because you already have a disability. You don't even have a suspected disability. Everybody on a 504 is due a full evaluation for special ed. You've already passed the child find requirements. You passed it. So what you need to do is turn your blinker on, circle back, go get your IEP testing. And here's the good news. You might be found to need no more support than a 504. Fantastic. I would love to be wrong. I've been wrong a lot of times. But in 27 years of doing this, I can think of one child who was brilliant that had a 504 for dyslexia. She was twice exceptional. That is part of the training tonight, just in case y'all were.
So is it true that if there isn't a large enough in the numbers from a full evaluation that you can't have services?
So here's the good news. In the federal government, which is like federal, it goes everywhere. It says in Child Find Code 300.111D, which stands for duh. It says that a student doesn't even have to be listed by an eligibility as long as we know as a committee that they're in need of special ed services and or related services. See, the federal government gave us an assist, so we didn't get in there and argue about packages and eligibilities and labels and tattoos and this and that and the other. If a kid needs the services, let's provide them their services. Every special ed student has the same right to equal access as everybody else.
Exactly.
I just want you to know that there's currently a poll going on, and we're going to answer this before you get off to the academy. But people are guessing how many clients you currently have. But don't answer
Alicia,
now.
what are the ranges?
We're going to give them 5 minutes to put their guessing.
Can we have another poll on how many blazers I have?
No, because that's way more than clients that you have.
Yes. I do love a good poll.
Who does not like a good... What kind... Yeah, I'm going to stop right there.
I think she was going to say a different kind of poll. I mean, I could be wrong. But these gas prices...
Landline, I was going exactly to the... which pole, and is it a dancing pole?
Yeah.
Is it a maypole?
It's an exercise pole, ma'am. It's for exercising.
Okay. My son was up for reevaluation.
Oh, that's so cute. Somebody said 143. I'm sorry. That's a little low.
It's a little low. Go up higher.
I mean, Tosh guessed 60, and she was the one that started the poll, so...
Oh.
Wouldn't that be great?
Okay, can you address this one? This is a statement, not a question.
Yeah.
Kids with medical needs need a 504, not an IEP.
Ooh, what's that smell? Pants on fire. Yeah. No. You have an identified disability. Do testing to see if you are in need of an IEP. Some really good guesses. Somebody said 4,500. It feels like 4,500.
It might feel like 4,500. Might.
I love you right back, Christy516. That was in the olden days. Days.
I was told that I would need to get my son's iPad for him to have a speech app. Is that right?
If it sounds like a lie, say it with me. It is. You don't have to pay a dime for your child to have special education related services and supports. There's this little thing called the Assistive Technology Act of 1998. You probably never heard of it. But it actually puts in federal funds for assistive technology devices, services, and solutions. It actually says even if purchased off the shelf. So when somebody says that, say, listen, I'm going to pull around front in the minivan. We're going to run over to Best Buy. You pick something, I'll pick something. There's that.
Exactly.
That's not exactly how I say it in the meeting.
We had a few people asking how do they retain you or one of your amazing affiliates.
Yeah, admin at specialeducationacademy.com.
Yes, and then we had people asking how to take your trainings.
Take it. Just take it. Special Education Academy.
Take it.
Just take it. So we have digital on demand. We have 2 in-person scheduled. Those will be the only 2 in-persons for the spring semester because I got to serve the children's. And then there'll be 1 more virtual. That'll be April 15th and 16th.
And then a hot topic question is how does a child with dyslexia get an IEP?
So there's 2 pathways to instruction. There is a student that's identified with dyslexia and general ed dyslexia intervention will be sufficient, or a student has a much higher deficit or discrepancy and usually a comorbidity of other SLDs and or maybe ADHD, and that they're best served with special education dyslexia. 2 pathways of instruction. And if you do that during the meeting, you'll get the special ed. Just do that. Just y'all practice. It's like exercising. Whew. 2 pathways.
I love it. You did a great job there.
Thank you. I feel like where's my little thing where it counts my calories?
Oh, someone's asking what's happening after the live tonight.
Tomorrow. That's what's happening after. Well, after the live tonight, we're going to go on 8 o'clock like we do every Tuesday night. We have a 2-hour training on Special Education Academy. You've all been given a free coupon tonight to join us for 2 weeks because we want you guys to be even more smarty pants to serve kiddos, whoever you are, if you're on the planet and you're breathing. If you're not breathing, we don't invite you because, it would be odd if you were online. So you just go to Special Education Academy. You find the trainings. You log into joining the academy. At the bottom, will say, is there a code? And you put in TikTok Live in all capital letters. And you will have access to Special Education Academy for free for 15 days. We have hundreds of hours of trainings over the last 2 years with workbooks because we want you to be special education bosses. The coupon is in your head. You just type it out. TikTok Live.
All caps.
Yeah, and TikTok does not have the letter C, just in case some of y'all are struggling with the talk. Or tick.
It's TIKTOK. Now you're messing this all up. Anyway, someone asked when the in-person days are.
The in-person is February 18th and 19th and March 17th and 18th. So February 18th and 19th is a Saturday, Sunday. Then that next day is President's Day. So you guys will have off if you're teachers. And then the 17th and 18th is a Friday, Saturday during spring break. Those will both be packed. And once you take the 2-day training, you're always welcome to come back free of charge to any other 2-day training in person because I love you and I want you to be fully trained to serve kiddos.
Okay, so I'm going to tell everybody how to go through the website one more time. Are we ready? Everybody ready?
We're ready.
www.specialeducationacademy.com. Then you're going to click the training tab where you can find all of the trainings Karen just talked about. But the third option is the academy. So scroll down to the academy. Then you're going to put in your information, and in the coupon spot, you're going to put all caps TikTok Live. If you're having trouble with the coupon code, email advocate@specialeducationacademy.com, and I'll put that in the thing, and I'll make sure you get in tonight.
Yeah, because it's not really a party if you're not there.
That's right. All right, you got time for 2 more questions.
2 more. Bonnie, hit
All right.
me. Or
Bonnie, go.
Bonnie gets one,
go,
Christina
go.
gets one. They're not competitive or anything.
Can the ARD committee say no academic goals are needed and only give functional goals?
So the ARD committee, which is the IEP committee in Texas, can only say what's appropriate for the child based on their unique circumstances. So if they need a goal in a certain area, academic, functional, communicative, related service, social, emotional, then we provide them that goal. Christina, with your poll.
Yes. Okay.
Your exercise poll.
My exercise poll. Did you see it? Can you see it? I thought I had it blocked out.
It looks really, really good. And it matches your undertones. I like that silver.
See? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So last one, and again, favorite area. What is a AAC device, and how would that be used for somebody at school?
Sure. An AAC is an augmentative alternative communication device, also known as a VOCD, a voice output communication device. It's a system set up to be able to communicate with somebody when there is a language deficit. It is amazing. It's a symbol system that students use so that they can access other students, other adults, and the curriculum with equal access as the speaking students. Oh, and I do have a Sam's card. Somebody says that.
Yes. Hey, Alicia, before we hop off, do we have, what are the poll numbers looking like?
What are the poll numbers looking at for how many clients?
Oh, yeah, they were all over the place. So, Karen, why don't you tell them about how many clients you currently have?
So average, I have about 500 IEPs that I go to. That doesn't include consulting. That doesn't include school district training. That doesn't include mediation and due process filings. And it certainly doesn't include my usually at one time around 80 open OCR cases for families. So
I think your numbers are about 753.
753. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So, again, go to www.specialeducationacademy.com. Training tab, third option is the Academy. Coupon code, all caps, TikTok Live. If you cannot get in, email advocate at specialeducationacademy.com. Take a screenshot because I just put it in the chat.
I will not tell you what the cheesehead just said. So good, though.
Well, I seen it. Oh, also the Sam's card. Somebody asked for your credentials, so I just let them know you had a Sam's card.
Well, I used to do hair on the dead at a funeral home. So if you like this look for eternity, hit me up. I owned a salon for years. So I graduated beauty school, valedictorian. Actually, whatever day you graduated, you're valedictorian. So if you need your toenails like pushed back, I'm your girl. I'm a certified mediator for high conflict divorce and custody in the courts in Houston. And I happen to be a pretty good special education advocate for children with disabilities all over the globe. Okay? So we're going to see you.
One more time. Advocate at specialeducationacademy.com. This happened the last time we gave out a code. Y'all crashed the website. So just give it a minute. Let it recycle. But email me at advocate at specialeducationacademy.com and I will get you in tonight.
And we'll wait for you. Okay? We're going to jump over there. Same outfit. So act like you've never seen it before. All right. Love you guys. Remember.
Yeah, we can get into class already. It's passion.
Yeah. When you get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. We'll see you next week. Okay, I'm pressing the button. Okay, I'm ending.
So you know we're not going to be able to get into class tonight, right? Because I can't get into the website.